I'm Alexis.
And I'm Tiffany, and we're the hosts of Legit KidLit, a video series where we get to see into the secret and silly lives of authors and illustrators.
We love to celebrate and promote books, but most of all, we want to say hey to all you readers out there trying to find that right book for you. We hope that you can find some new reads after today. Today's guest is Kelly Kuhn, the author of 2 young adult novels, Grave Maidens and War Maidens. War Maidens is the sequel to Grave Maidens and comes out December 15th.
We will get to know Kelly and her books more shortly, but for right now, let's have some fun with some silly but super important questions. Okay, question 1. Someone gives you an elephant. You can't sell it or give it away. What do you do with the elephant?
Oh, I am absolutely monetizing that in some way. My husband is in finance, and we have our fingers in a lot of different businesses, and I am absolutely making an elephant show in my backyard or something like that. We're training it. We're teaching it to do all sorts of tricks. We are absolutely riding it, and we're giving it a very nice home.
All right, question 2. What 2 items would you take with you if you were shipwrecked on a deserted island where all your food and water needs were taken care of, but nothing else?
All right, definitely I need a battle axe, because who doesn't need a battle axe for all situations? And I'm going bug spray, sunscreen combo. I mean, gotta take care of the face. It's very important.
Okay, question 3. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Oh, I could take a horse-sized duck for sure. For sure. Bring it on. But lots of little ones, I think I would go into full-blown panic mode, battling them from every possible angle. But one giant one, I feel like you can move around, and I think I'm better able to handle that.
And if you had a battle axe, you got that.
Okay, battle axe would absolutely be imperative in that scenario.
All right, it's time to grab a pencil and some paper. We want you to draw something for us. Don't worry, we're gonna draw with you. We are gonna spin our 2 magic wheels to choose our drawing topics, and then you will combine them into one drawing. We will have 5 minutes, and then we will share. So, are you ready? Wheel of topics number 1. Voldemort.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
What?
Okay. Wheel 2 is... oh my. Disney. Here we go.
Wait, Disney? Disney what? Okay, are you ready to be impressed by my Lord Voldemort? I'm crying. The nose was really hard. The whole thing was super hard. I think I did better on my Mickey. All right, and now here is my version of Mickey, and it is not as horrible as I thought it would be. I am not an artist.
Okay, so here's mine. Ready for this? So I had a vision that Voldemort was going to Disney World, and he was doing that special princess package where you get to dress up as your favorite princess. And I wanted to put the snake in there somewhere. Like, that's his pet.
I did. I threw away 2 pieces of paper before I finally settled on something, but I drew, oh my gosh, I drew Voldemort watching Mickey on television with his bowl of popcorn. So he was just kind of chilling. He doesn't smile a whole lot, but he does enjoy watching Mickey and eating popcorn.
Listen, we all got the nose thing. The slanted nostrils, I think we were in it.
Nailed it! So, cool story. Last year, Alexis and I were reading Grave Maidens together at the same time, and we just devoured it. We loved it. And I remember us talking to you, Kelly, about it and like just raving about how much we loved the book. So we knew that we had to have you on this series to kind of celebrate you and your upcoming book, which is the sequel, War Maidens.
That is so sweet. Thank you. It means a lot to hear, for any author, it means a lot to hear when a reader connects with their story. So I appreciate all the love.
All right, so our viewers would love to get to know you and your books. Let's start with a couple of get to know you questions. Can you share one of your most embarrassing school memories?
Oh, I have a good one, and this is from middle school. So I was a voracious reader. I read everything. My mother used to take me to the library, and I would check out 22 books every 2 weeks, and just read them all. And occasionally I would slip a romance novel in between the mysteries, the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drews and Babysitters Clubs. And I would sneak and read stuff that I shouldn't probably have been reading. Anyway, one of my teachers caught me in the middle of class reading my romance novel. And he was not a very nice teacher. He made me get up in front of class and read the page that I was currently reading. And when I say it was an embarrassing page, it was an embarrassing page. 7th grade. This was 7th grade.
So when did you first start writing?
I was about 8, and I grew up in this very strict environment, very strict religious environment. And so most of the stories I read when I was little were Old Testament Bible stories and some New Testament, but they really pounded in the Old Testament. So a lot of those stories did not reflect me, a girl. And so I would take, my first writing was when I was around 8 that I can remember. And I took Bible stories and I would put a girl as the main character, and I would add a lot more blood and a lot more war and make her kind of the shining star of the story. So those were my first real attempts at writing.
How else has your life shaped your writing?
I think it really, growing up that way and very religious, has shaped my life and what I choose to focus on a lot. So every story that I've written 8 novels, 3 of which will never see the light of day, but they all feature strong young women who are choosing their own path in their own lives. I didn't have a lot of choices growing up, and women in the environment in which I was raised did not have a lot of choices. And so I wanted more. I wanted to be able to choose the life that I wanted and do what I wanted to do, wherever that took me. And so in the stories I write, that's kind of what I do for my main characters, who are female.
I love that. Absolutely amazing. Creating, this world that you wanted for yourself, and now everybody gets to kind of share in it. So for those of us that maybe didn't get to read Grave Maidens yet, do you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. Grave Maidens is a young adult fantasy, and it's about a 16-year-old healer named Kamani who has to save her little sister from being put to death as one of the ruler's brides in the afterlife.
What are you most excited about with the release of War Maidens?
I'm excited to get the continuation of Kamani's story out there. It takes place 9 months after the ending of Grave Maidens, and she has built herself this amazing life in this safe haven of a city-state called Manzazu. And she's built a healing practice there, and she's got this tidy little situation built for herself and her family and her friends. So of course I have to completely destroy that and send her through all sorts of trials so she gets what she really wants and needs throughout this whole story. But I am excited to have it out there. I love War Maidens. I think it's a better book than Grave Maidens, if I'm honest. The pace is quick. There's a lot more tension right from the get-go, and I'm really excited for people to be able to read it.
So, Kelly, what music would you say would be the soundtrack for your series?
Well, that's a very good question. I actually, if you have Spotify, I have a Spotify playlist for Grave Maidens, and one of my readers came up with a Spotify playlist for War Maidens, which I found amazing. Some of the songs on my playlist for Grave Maidens are by the Lumineers, Bishop Briggs, Ex-Ambassadors, Kings of Leon, Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish, Beyonce, of course, and yeah, a whole bunch more. So if you have Spotify, you can go search it. It's a public playlist.
I know what I'm doing later today.
That is such a cool idea.
Honestly, I was so excited when this reader reached out and told me she had made a War Maidens playlist. And I listened to it, and wow, she had perfectly captured some of the themes of the book. And I was like, just amazed that anybody else connected to the story similarly to how I did. So I was impressed.
All right, so one of the things we loved about Grave Maidens was the setting. We felt like we were there, that we could live it. We were living it. So can you describe one of the settings in Grave Maidens for those of us who haven't read it yet?
Grab a blanket, grab a hot cup of cocoa, cozy on up. It is story time with Kelly.
Okay, I'm going to read to you a passage. It's short, and this is when Kamani goes to visit Shiptu at Dagon's farm, and goes into this outbuilding. And yeah, this is a different description other than the ornateness of the palace. So, blinking in the dim light inside, I waited for my eyes to adjust. I could walk across the storage shed, one of many on their farm, in 3 strides. Clay bins of various sizes teetered against the wall to my left, with more on shelves above. Against the far wall, beneath the rectangular window, 8 large pots of grains and legumes sat squat and proud, casks weathered by many years of hands hauling them from farm to market. Dried herbs lay on shelves carved into the mud brick wall above the grains, and various spools of goat hair, woolen, and linen threads were propped in the corner, ready for weaving. The earthy smell of hide still clung to the grayish wool. A shelf to my right held pots full of tinctures and remedies, clean linens, and various knives and lancing tools. Okay, so I'm just gonna read the first page or so of War Maidens. The dead could rise on this kind of night. In some ways they already had. The cool air nipped at my shoulders as I knelt in the dirt, encircled by an elite group of warriors called the Koru who protected the queen. Torchlight reflected off their copper scorpion helmets, the scars they wore on their bodies like badges of honor. It flickered in their eyes when they looked at me, the healer who had saved them all. After more than a moon of restless illness, they'd risen from their sick beds one after another. When I'd witnessed the life in them, their muscles regaining strength as they fastened into their greaves and plaited tunics to return to their duties, I'd cried like a baby. If only my father had been alive to see it. He would have been so proud that I'd healed them and that the queen was honoring me this night in recognition, though he would have scolded me for running myself ragged to get here. But that's what you did when you were a healer, doing everything in her power to be the best she could be and failing.
Love it.
Are you doing any author visits or anything virtually for teachers or students?
I am. On my website, I have a contact form, and you can get in touch with me, and I am offering free, because of, again, hashtag 2020, free 30-minute Q&A workshops to any teacher at any point, really. Just contact me and I'm happy to jump on and do a Q&A with your students. I know how tough this year has been. My kids were virtual for the first part of the year, so I realize how hard teachers are working to manage some kids who are in school, manage some kids who are virtual, and I'm blown away by how incredible teachers have been. So yes, free.
We all need, a little bit of a boost or some motivational speaking. So can you end with some advice or words of wisdom for our viewers?
Sure. One of the themes in War Maidens is that compassion is a strength. Kamani's a healer, and she has this compassion that lives inside her that prompts her to do well and do good by the people around her. And for 2020, I think one of the most important things that we can be with one another is compassionate and just be extra gentle with those around us, no matter how much anxiety we're feeling or how much angst we have in our lives or how upset we are about the circumstances that we are in. Lead with compassion. Start with kindness first, and only good things will follow.
Kelly, thank you so much for your beautiful words, your incredible books, and just hanging out with us today. We had such a great time.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such an enjoyable interview. Great way to start the day. I'm so grateful.
We're grateful for you, and thank you.
Bye.
Forget to like and subscribe. Desktop Party!